How's it going there, good feller? Before I get started on this video about firewood, I just want to mention that YouTube has been on a big kick lately about this new AI generated content. And I just want to be very clear, this is not AI generated, it's just real life stuff that's happening here. So now that we got that straight, I hope we're all on the same page here. The other thing that's been bringing a lot of views into a lot of people lately, yoga pants. So, I'm going to be doing the rest of this here segment now in yoga pants, and hopefully that'll help my views go up a little bit. Seems to be working on Instagram. A big part of making quality firewood is having a working dishwasher. I've been having some problems with mine. The water's been coming out soupier than chocolate milk. Several issues. We're going to get into that in a minute. But I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot this thing, how to diagnose it, how to do the repairs. Now, the first thing I want to mention is you could take this dishwasher and pull it out of here and take it outside where it's not so messy. But if you're like me, then you're going to have your dishwasher in the wood yard and a big mess. You don't want to do all that. So we're going to access this thing and leave the dishwasher in the kitchen, and you can get in through this front access panel right here, right down here, to do this repair right inside and leave it where it is. It's a very simple repair, should be fine, no problems. So let's get into it, and I'll tell you about the problems I was having, how to diagnose it, and what we're going to do to fix it. All right, now, this here dishwasher's a little old, and it's pretty disgusting, so don't say anything about that. It's got a little rust on it and all kinds of stuff. Let me show you what we're getting into, and that's what I'm saying. The first thing I noticed is my dishes were all cloudy looking. There was soap all over them, and there was standing water in the bottom of my washer here. Hey! So, first thing I did was I said, I got a clogged drain. Well, I pulled off this cover down in here. Let's move this out of the way. Cat's gonna love that. I pulled off this cover down in here, and it was funkier than a Louisiana swamp. I tell you what, I flipped that thing over, and there was stuff growing in there you wouldn't even want to see. If that's cleaning your dishes, you got serious problems. It was disgusting. I'm talking black stuff this thick growing on the back side of this here cover. So I pulled that cover off there, and I cleaned all that out and bleached it up, and I stuck a vacuum cleaner down in there, and I vacuumed out my sump. I thought I had a clogged drain. Well, there was also a lot of deposits from my dishwasher liquid. I use a gel now, but there was gel all over that drain. It couldn't even drain. So I said, surely I solved the problem. That was terrible. Well, I put that thing back together, put my drain back together there, and turned her on, and she still wasn't washing. My little top whirly bird here wasn't spinning, nothing. This thing was just kind of spewing out water real slow, and it was pulsating. So I said, well, I got a serious problem now. So when you're diagnosing these things, if you got a problem, what they do is they fill up with water in here, actually, and that's what the pump recirculates around and sprays all over. So it's not filling up. Well, you either got a problem with your supply line or this float valve here, and there's several different variations. I don't know if you can see that. Bring you in a little closer here. Now there is some dishes around because obviously I've been having some problems, so I'm waiting to get this thing fixed up before I get my dishes cleaned up. So as I was saying, this float valve here could be another problem. Now I went on GE's website, and as they said, tap it with the back of a hammer. Well, I tried that. And you got to take this cover off here, and then the float valve's down inside. So I don't know why they didn't tell you to take the cover off, but I can hear that clicking. It's probably good. Hopefully that's not our problem. The float valve can be a problem because that's what tells your pump that the water level needs to be adjusted. So hopefully my float valve is good. What typically is the problem in these situations is what they call the water inlet valve. And here's where my water, your hot water is supposed to come in through here. Now, if that water inlet valve is not telling that to pump new water and the valve is malfunctioned, it gets all gummed up in there, then you're not going to get a fill in here. So that's what I believe the problem is. It's a water inlet valve. Now I found this water inlet valve on Amazon and it was $12, I don't know, $10, $12, something in there. And now I'm hoping it works because they have changed suppliers on this part, and the part number changed and the new ones look totally different. But I'm just going by what it looks like online. And now there she is. That's your water inlet valve. This thing sits right down here underneath the dishwasher and the access panel. Right down in here. And this little valve here tells this thing to fill up with water. You got a little nipple on it there that you connect to your supply line. And there we go. So I'm going to be reinstalling this water inlet valve on my dishwasher. Now let me give you another little tip here. Another part of diagnosing this thing, if you're working with your dishwasher or if you just want to have some fun with the kids at home and make a big mess. If you pull this thing down in here, you can take a screwdriver or a knife or something and you can trick this thing into thinking the door's closed like so. Now, that's locked and it thinks that the door is closed and locked. So I'm going to show you what mine's doing here. You turn that on. There she is. That's all I'm getting. That's piss poor. Now that should be spraying like the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas there. And it's just not doing it. And I also want to note that the top whirly bird is getting no water at all. But now, I'll turn that off. That might be a little bit loud. Now, if you take a pan of water and throw it in here, or you can just take your little sink sprayer like this and spray some water in here, that thing will fill up and get a reservoir down here in the bottom, and that's what it recirculates. Now, it'll start spraying like crazy. And that's what let me know right there that the main pump on this unit here is probably good, because it's just not getting flow. It's not filling up, because when you fill it up manually, the pump's working. So you got the main pump, it's working, everything's fine. It's just not getting flow. Probably the water inlet valve is what I'm thinking. It's either that or this float switch here is broken, told it not to turn water on. But I have seen this water inlet valve dribbling out a little bit of water. So the valve's probably clogged up, we got some deposits on it, and it's not opening properly. So let's get on to replacing this. It's very simple. All right, now, good buddy. I got some very basic tools here. This is not a complicated job. You're gonna need what are these damn things called? You're gonna need a couple pairs of pliers, a screwdriver, and something to take this access panel off here. It's got like some 7mm, some little bolts on it. I don't know what they are. You can figure it out, whatever yours is. So let's pop this access panel off here and get this thing going. What do we got here? All right, that's a 1/4 inch. Oops, good buddy, I forgot to mention, before you get to working on this, you're going to want to turn the water off and you're going to want to turn the breaker off. So let me go do that. I'm going to get the breaker shut off to this so I don't shock myself to high heavens. And we're going to turn the water off, which is located under my sink right here. All right now, almost forgot about that. I got my breaker shut off. There's no power going to the dishwasher. Now, if you don't know how to do that, you probably shouldn't be using a screwdriver. Mine was on number 25. So right down in here is where your water inlet valve sits. Right here at the front, and this is your water supply line that goes to that inlet valve, and it pumps hot water up into your washer there. Well, it's clogged up, so let's pull that thing off here. And that's got a different size. That's a 5/16 on these. So now, something that you're going to want to have handy is a little bit of a pail to catch some water and some towels. Whenever you're doing plumbing, I like to have towels around. So I got those 2 bolts off that thing. Now all you got to do is pull it down, remove the power source, take off this line here. That's the water line. We'll put a little tub underneath there. There we go, get that unhooked. Now that's not dripping bad at all. So the other thing you got to do is you got to get this outgoing line off here. Now it's got a hose clamp, you got to get this hose clamp off here. I bought some extra hose clamps just in case this one can't be reused. But this is one of those fancy constant pressure clamps. So as that hot water expands and contracts that hose, that the clamp keeps constant pressure on it. It's used in the automotive industry a lot. They could probably use them on a log splitter if they could get one strong enough, but they just don't. So let's see if I can get this off and be able to reuse this thing. There we go, just slide that up the line there. Twist this off. Now hopefully this thing works. If this don't work, I got a hole. See, now that's gonna put out a little water there. Now guess what I got to. Hopefully this repair works. I mean, there's the old one. Oh, here's the new one. That's the other thing I gotta do is I got an adapter on this thing. I mean, that looks identical. The new GE parts are completely different and they're $40. This was like, I think I got it for $9 or $10. There was another model that went all the way up to $12.99, but GE wants $40 for basically the same thing. Now this thing didn't have my model number listed, but it had all kinds of models listed, and then it said etc. on the bottom. So it's like, this thing is just a valve that if it gets power, the valve opens, it'll do whatever. So I'm going to give it a try. Now let's get this other valve off here. I may need a little silicone tape. I got to take this adapter off here and put it onto here. Let me get some silicone tape. While I'm doing this, I just want to mention, I also saw a nice fella on YouTube who recommended maybe cleaning this out, and it is possible. If you remove these 4 screws, you can take this thing off, and sometimes they get gummed up on something terrible. And you can just clean. The screen could be dirty and it could not be getting flow. Well, that wasn't the case with mine. I took this apart, cleaned it, put it back in, and I was still having problems. So it's not a dirt issue. Now that sucker's on there. Let's see if I can get this thing off. Okay, she's not wanting to turn. I ran into a little problem here, fellers, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to take this apart and I'm going to use the old adapter and put it onto the new valve instead of trying to unscrew that thing. Alright, I'll go ahead and show you all this. If you take off this, you take this plate off here with those 4 screws, you can get down in here and pull out this little screen in here. See that down in there? You can pull that sucker out of there right here. And oftentimes that is dirty. Now you can also pull out another piece down in there and it gets dirty too, but that's not my problem, so we're going to leave that alone. I'm trying to get this thing apart here. It's not wanting to go. Can't get a hold of her. Now, I should probably have gloves on for this. That thing is not wanting to move. You know, it could be possible that I could do this whole plate right. Put this plate on the new unit. There's another way to go about this. Oh, she is not moving, man. All right, now, I had to bring in some more tools, and I had a little problem. This valve here's got all kinds of pipe dope on it. You see all that glue on there? They glued that sucker on there. I can't turn it. So, before I break this thing and skin my knuckles up and everything else and get it all out around, what I did is I took the new piece off of that. I just switched the whole bracket. That's all I did. So this is the old bracket and old fitting on it there. I just swapped that over to the new unit. Now it looks identical, so hopefully we don't get any leaks out of here, because it looks like, to me, it looks like there's a gap in here and we may have water spraying out of there, something terrible. So let's hook this thing back up and see if she's going to leak. If she leaks, then I'll have to go to the store and buy the parts or work on trying to free that thing up. I might have to put some heat on it or something because it's stripping out everything. I'm going to hook it up and see if she leaks. Hook up my electrical. Now we're pretty much done here. I'm ready to test this and see how she goes. Let me bring y'all in here and show you a close-up of what's going on. All right, let me show y'all a close-up of what's going on. Never mind the mess under here. That's a typical dishwasher. So, we got our main line coming in here. We got that tight. We got our electrical plug plugged up. That just pulls off and slides on those little prongs there. And here in the back, you just have this pressure clamp on the supply line going up. That goes up into the dishwasher. So water comes in and through the valve and goes up into your washer there, and that's your power line that talks to the computer and all that. So hopefully our hose clamp is not going to leak because it's getting old. And hopefully we don't have a leak out of here because I had to replace this plate. So hopefully it's the same thing. Let's turn it on and see how she does. I'm going to put a tub under that just in case. I don't know if it'll help because that's going to spray like crazy. Here we go. I'm going to turn the breaker back on. Let me go downstairs and flip the breaker back on and test her and see if she's going to spray. Okay. Now I got some towels ready and I'm going to test this thing and see if she's going to work. Here we go. First thing, let's check for leaks here. Well, we might have a problem here. Not as smart as I thought, apparently. She's not filling up with water. You're a dummy. All right, now, next thing you're going to want to do is turn the water back onto this thing so you have a supply of water going to the unit. All right, we got our water on, we got the breaker back on. Let's test this thing and see how she does. First thing we're going to want to look for is any leaks coming from down there. Let's lock her up and see how she does. Now she ain't leaking from here, that's a good thing. She's still not operating though. Well, let me see if she's pumping water. I don't think we might have a serious problem here. Yeah, she ain't pumping water. There should be some water coming out of that hole right there, and it's just not coming. All right, folks. Well, this thing just started peeing like crazy. Check this out. Oh, here we go. I believe we might have fixed our problem. See how she's peeing out of that hole there? Now we got her going. Woo! That's how she's supposed to be looking, fellers. All right, let me get her buttoned up here, and I think we got our problem solved. All right. Now, I just sprayed water everywhere, and the breaker's on, but it's all right. It's dry under here. I don't see any leaks. All right, now that's good. We don't have any leaks coming on. You guys on? Now that's real nice. We don't have anything leaking here. Everything looks good. She's supplying hot water into the washer. That was a good repair. I'm real happy with that. Let me get her button back up. Okay, that was a success. Now we can put our dishwasher back together and get her loaded up, get some clean dishes, and get back on with making some quality firewood. Thanks for watching, everybody.